Welcome to Sunday Morning Quarterback with Jay Stockwell and Bob Frady. Exactly. Boy, what a missed opportunity.
Not an ideal game, for sure.
And just about any way you look at it, we lost that game. Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. I think the guys were out-coached. Let me just cover a few things. Oh, a fifth dimension, the officiating. You know, if the Big Ten officials would just get 2 calls right, we're 7-2. The Minnesota touchdown, that was not a touchdown, the last touchdown that they scored. And then there was the unbelievably crucial interference that didn't get called.
Yeah, he threw a block in the open field. It's like you call this ticky-tack pass interference on the other side and you missed that one. But listen, we're not here to complain about the officiating. You know, that's a variable, just like the wind or the weather. Even as terrible as it seemed, I'm sure there were other calls where the other side would go, it was just as terrible as our side, too. So we don't want to be those people.
That is true. So let's go over a few things. First of all, credit to Michigan State. Their special teams, their punter, put us at a massive disadvantage the whole game.
He had like robo leg. He was pounding the ball. And of course, we're fair catching it inside the 10-yard line.
No, that's honestly like one of the first times I'm like, Matt Rhule, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Because you put a guy out there, you want a hands guy who can catch the ball. Okay, get that. But don't do it inside the 10-yard line repeatedly, you know?
Yeah.
So you're just ceding the special teams field position battle to just giving it to them.
Just put everybody up there on the line and go for the block. You know, it's if that's what you're going to do, just let the ball go. But, hey, listen, what it seems to come down to, for me, is I wonder if they coach this team on offense for the players that they think they would like to have or the players that they actually have. And I would say that they're coaching for players they don't have on their team. And that's mystifying to me.
And in part their own fault again, because they kind of ran Casey Thompson out of town in favor of Jeff Sims.
Yep.
And we'd be a better team with Casey Thompson still here.
Right. But here's the thing. That's a pretty big bet to make. And if it's like putting all your chips on red and it turns out red's not the color, you know, that's a tough blow. They had overcome it for the most part. They were in great shape going into this game, but the play calling mystifies me sometimes. It's like, you know, the best score that they had, or not quite score, but close to a score, was when Haarberg finally ran. I mean, I don't know if he was injured. I don't know if he was insecure. I don't know if they were trying to get him to do things he didn't want to do, but it just
seem super hesitant, didn't it?
It seemed really hesitant and really out of sorts for the longest part of the game, to the point where we're sitting there saying, okay, it's probably time to make a change up. And yeah, they had a chance to tie it at the end, but it was, you know, if you want to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field, Heinrich right now is not the guy to deliver you accuracy. Dips his shoulder and the ball takes off high, time and time and time and time and time again. And his long ball's not that accurate. I'm sure he's a great kid. He tries really hard. He seems to be a real tough guy, which is great. But if that's the kind of passer you have, then play it with strength. You know, go to freaking wishbone and just get out there and run that damn ball and stop with all these nonsensical plays that don't have much of a chance of success when the weather's nasty. And guess what? This ain't the SEC. The weather
wasn't actually as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Windy.
Yeah,
it's the wind. It's like,
but still, it was pretty benign.
This isn't South Carolina in the middle of November where it's just beautiful. This is the Midwest where it's miserable. You know, the gray blanket rolls in, and here comes its friend, the wind, rain, fog, and snow, and you got to deal with it. And so I'm just a little mystified as to what was going on. It just seemed like the game lacked a certain. Maybe they listened to our podcast and thought they were going to win 35-7 and just kind of rolled out the footballs and
yeah,
we got this one. Don't listen to us. Don't listen to. We're fans. Don't listen to us.
For the first time, the defense was a little disappointing. They did a good job on the run. Only, according to the stats here, they only got Carter, right? It was a Carter the back. They had 63 yards on 31 carries.
Yeah, but when you're throwing the ball all over the place, you don't need to run.
But where we got absolutely gashed was on passing, 232 yards of passing, and they just couldn't seem to stop it. And they were running down the seams and attacking the zone. I think we played a little better when we were in man-to-man, but they just tore apart the zone.
Well, listen, you know what? Nobody said this was going to be easy. Nobody said it was going to be a bed of roses. And so what we find out that there's a thorn in that bed of roses there somewhere. Still optimistic.
My only point is it didn't have to be. This game, just like Minnesota, was winnable. There were just multiple dimensions where we gave it away. 3 turnovers again, 3 turnovers. This team spots the other team 3 turnovers every game.
That's a tough hole to dig yourself out of. And if you were taking the ball away 3 times a game, that'd be cool, but you're not. So
right, it's
tough to watch the team do that. And then they have a chance at they also thought the clock management in the fourth quarter was relatively awful. It's like they felt like they had almost like they felt like they had another quarter, and they were leisurely with their play calling. 7 minutes left, they're like dawdling around up to the line, not using their timeouts effectively. Everyone is like, the knee-jerk reaction is you save your timeouts to the end. It's like 30 seconds with 4 minutes left is the same as 30 seconds with 2 minutes left, and you gotta give your team time, because if you save that 30 seconds earlier, you have a bunch more options of plays. You can run and spike a ball on a first down that you don't necessarily have the time to do when the clock's ticking down towards 0. And so I just thought offensively, the play calling was a mess. But then again, I've been singing that since week 1. It's going to take time. Hopefully Satterfield can correct the ship. But it's
a disappointment, but there's still a ton to play for. I want to get to a nice warm bowl game somewhere. I think maybe there was a lot more chatter about the bowl game and the potential of the Big Ten West this week. So that I think possibly could have been a little bit distracting, but Michigan State was just ready to play.
Yeah.
And they had a plan.
Yeah, it was senior day. They're pumped up. And
they ran some good trick plays. They kept the defense off balance.
Yep. It was hats off to Michigan State. And, I'm sure it was a long bus ride home. I hope they made them take the bus home. That's what kind of loss this was. Some losses you can fly home. Other losses, you need to take the bus and think about what you've done there, mister. This is a take the bus home game.
Yeah.
It's a long ride. So 14 hours good. You need 14 hours in the bus. It's like, but I'm sure they flew. But anyway.
Let's review some of the sentiment from the writers. I know you hate this part, Bob, but I think it's good to just get a sense of what people are saying. Growing pains bit Nebraska hard, often on offense, but possibly the Huskers' most disappointing failures of the game on defense came on defense and in the kicking game. Tad Stryker. Spartans threw the kitchen sink at Nebraska with tricks and obviously a lot of fuel to have a last stand for its season. Yeah, good for them. Still fighting at 2-6. I think that their coach seemed very focused and had a plan, stuck to it, and we were reacting to that plan all day. Did these Huskers, strangers to this moment, relax? Or does a team with flaws, a team that lives each week with a small margin of error, eventually take a spill off the wire? I think that's a pretty good take right there.
I don't think that's an either or question. I think it's a both question. It just seemed like a little bit of a lack of urgency. I don't know. Yeah. I wasn't there. I don't know. Hard to say. Don't know.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it was a little lack of urgency combined with the fact that, hey, you're living on the knife's edge. And yeah, you got a little full of yourself playing at home and having a good winning streak. It's a tough loss. Let's just wrap it up at that. It's a tough loss.
This is Joseph Mayer of the Daily Nebraskan. Nebraska's offense is simply not suited to overcome even an average day from an opposing sideline. I mean, it's pretty sad, the state of affairs on offense. The one bright spot is I think young Emmett Johnson is coming along.
Yeah, it's like, hey, listen, it's I understand that you want to show how smart you are by throwing all sorts of fancy plays out there, but get out there and run the ball.
Yeah.
And if then when they stop you like 9 times in a row, then you start throwing the ball. It's like, get out there and exert your will. That's how you have to win the game.
And don't give Haarberg so many decisions, like the handoff. I hate that where he holds the ball in the belly till the last second. Just like pick a direction and run. You're the fastest guy on the field.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
like, just run it.
Run the option, like a real option.
Yeah.
None of that RPO crap, but run a real option. Like get the big boys running downfield and run people over.
Yeah.
Then again, that might be the old guy in me looking for the glory days of, everybody out running and knocking people over. But and the worst thing about this is that he didn't pass on first down. I attribute the loss to that. He should have passed on first down because they didn't pass on first down. I had to do 20 push-ups. And I knocked him right out. It was no big deal, but still, I didn't like having to. I was looking forward to seeing Stockwell try to do 20 push-ups. I knocked him out.
We should I can be like 60, man. Come on.
I had 20 more in the tank, so I was ready. Anyway.
So, give me the grades on the pregame meal and the during game meal. Give like a scale of 10.
I went home and I fell asleep because I had so much food in me. You got to understand something. I have adopted Nebraska. Nebraska is my adopted child of college football.
Yeah.
My child eats like nobody's business, and I struggle to keep up with the eating frenzy that is Nebraska football. It's like you go to a tailgate in Nebraska, there's like food everywhere. It's like, man, we have the cows, we grow them and we bring them the whole thing. And man, I think that's the fun part, though. Right? I can't keep up. Listen, so, it's fun as long as you have time for a nap that afternoon.
Yeah. So next year we're going to get ahead of this and have a plan because we're going to show up with a vehicle, a Sunday morning quarterback vehicle,
with some couple of easy chairs in the back. Passed out. So what's funny is the game ended. So for our fans at home, we watched this together in Jay's basement, and the game ended. We were both a little disappointed because he's like, let's watch a war movie. I'm like, okay. I'm like, which one? He's like, The Outpost. I'm like, of course. For the 15th time, we're watching this movie. And 5 minutes into the movie, I turn to the side and there's Stockwell. He's out. I'm like, make my escape. So I saw the opening credits and I was back in the house down the street. So
that was a nice nap too, by the way, because I woke up midway through the movie.
Yeah, I went home. It's like, not my turn to nap. So listen, no one said it was going to be easy. Everyone said it was going to be a process. Everyone was prepared for Matt Rhule has terrible first seasons, and you have games like this. Sometimes you just poop in the punch bowl, and that's what they did. They laid a turd, and it happens. It happens. Now, hopefully they rally, but maybe we shouldn't get so optimistic with our 30. Every time we predict like 35-7, which I think we also predict for Michigan, bad things happen. I think we ought to go with like the 3-2 scores and or the 14-13 last minute field goal.
What is it the Japanese say? Failure is a gift.
Like, I don't know who says that, but failure is a gift to a point. Like if you're flying an airplane and you crash into the ground, that's not necessarily a gift. That's a failure. So if you live just to see another day, then moderate failure is a gift. I'll give you that. Total failure. Yeah. No.
I think Matt Rhule is a good coach, and I think they're going to learn a lot from this game. I think the coaching, I like in the post game sometimes it refers to like, we coach we grade ourselves too. We're not just grading the players in the game. We grade ourselves, and I think the coaches, they just had some missed opportunities. The whole Billy Kemp thing, just bizarre.
Listen, I get it.
Clock management,
You want somebody to catch the ball, but at the same time, if you're not going to run, then let it go. Just let it go. You're inside the 20-yard line, just let it go. Inside the 10-yard line, always let it go.
Yeah, but if they just did that, they'd improve their field position by like 70 yards probably.
Yeah, but you know what? Total. It's hard. You're looking up at the sky. You don't necessarily know where your feet are. It's like again, these aren't pros. These are guys who have been playing football for a long time, most of their lives, but their lives aren't very long. So they're going to make mistakes. So hopefully they rectify those mistakes and come back strong in the next couple of weeks. But the road gets a little bit rougher. It gets a little bit rougher.
Yeah. So we're going to Wisconsin, right?
I don't know about that.
You're not,
I will
you're still on the
consider it.
fence?
It's far. It's far and it's cold. So, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll get the ladies to come. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, they're going to love that. How about you come to another football game with us where we may possibly get into fisticuffs with the crowd? And then drive home 5 hours in the cold and possible snow.
We could fly?
No. It's an hour. It's like a 20-minute flight. It's like, you get up and you go down. Anyway, we'll see. We'll check in on that. All I could say is it's a disappointing loss, and hopefully they learn from it and take the tape out back and throw it in the river. Just move on, play better. But, Haarberg, as much as he was a bit of a savior at the beginning, teams are getting wise to what he's good at and what he's not. And they're sitting on what he's good at, and they're making him do what he's not, which is throw the ball deep or throw the ball in general. And
even worse, throw the ball when he's running.
Yeah, it's like set your feet. I don't understand that. Listen, I've never played big time football. I don't know what it's like. But one of the first things they teach you when you're throwing is to set your feet, and you can't throw on the run with your arm shoulder thrown here.
Well, some people can. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Super Bowl champions can do that. Like, set your feet and throw the ball. They were lucky they got the interception called back in the end zone. That was just a horror. That was a early season throw.
That was a Minnesota throw. That was exactly what he did in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Or Singh did that in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Haarberg though. I like the way you summed it up earlier. The guy's a tough, good kid, and he's just got a terrible throwing mechanics.
I don't know these kids personally. I don't know what they're like. They seem like good kids, and that's what they are though. They're kids. We're expecting perfection. Like this is all they have to do. It's like they got to go to school too. It's not just foosball all the time. They got to do some school, and they're traveling, and it's tough. So they're at home this week. We'll see what happens, but it's a blow. It's a blow, but it's only as much of a blow as you make it. Come back strong. Come back tough. Offensively, they need to think about what they think about. Design the plays for the players you have, not the players you think you have.
No, we don't have them. That's for sure. Well, failure is a gift, and we got the opportunity to learn from this, and there's a lot to learn on every phase of the game and coaching decisions. So let's learn from them. And I like what you said earlier about throwing the tape in the river when you're done. So
yep. See you later.
Move on, and let's get ready for the Maryland Terrapins.
And how do we end it, Jay Stockwell?
Take us out, Bob Fraley.
Go Big Red!